Hello guys, this is Bright. Hasta la vista and welcome to my very own first video on this YouTube channel. Alright, so this video is a guide on creating realistic skin look material or shader for using eevee. So it's actually creating a realistic looking skin inside Blender 2.8 using eevee. So I'm going to guide you, or I'm going to show you the procedures I use to get this results, and hopefully I'm hoping you learn something from it. So yeah, so firstly this tutorial or this video is going to be in two parts. So the first part we are going to talk about the reference I use, like why and how I chose this kind of look, the modeling, then we talk about sculpting, and the sculpting part, it will be the creating the primary forms. Alright, so that's for the first part, and for the second part we are going to talk about texturing, which is painting the textures inside Blender. We are not going to use any other softwares. Everything will be done inside Blender start to finish. So when we are done with the texturing, we move on to lighting. So when we are done with the lighting, that's when we move on to shaders, adding the shaders, and when we are done with the shaders, we render it. I will show you the process or the things I did before I went on to render everything out, and the format I render my stuffs. So I'm hoping you are going to learn something at the end of these two videos. So yeah. Alright, let's get moving. So before I begin, like I said, this first part we are going to talk about reference. So the main reason, or what really got me to do this character you see is, someone posted on Facebook that he doubts eevee can create realistic skin, and he thinks maybe Cycles will be able to do it. So to me, I knew it was possible for eevee, but I had no proof. So this thing I did was, or this art I created was, or this work I did was not to show that I'm very good or I can create cool skins or realistic skin with Blender 2.8 using eevee, but it was a way of trying to motivate you guys to really get into that and start creating very cool and simple shaders for skin. Alright, so this thing wasn't something to prove that I'm very good at creating skin, but it was something to motivate all the Blender users, or at least the people watching this video, or the people who have seen the results, that it's really possible with eevee or Cycles, only if you have time for it. And I'm a guy who wants to use eevee for everything I do inside Blender. I want to render everything with eevee. So that was the main reason I decided to use eevee rather than Cycles. And if you are Cycles, you are a person who likes to use Cycles, meaning you even end up getting a very cool results with Cycles. So eevee or Cycles is a win-win. Alright, so let's get started. Firstly, we are going to talk about the reference. Alright, so like I said, this is a guide. This is not a very detailed tutorial. I'm just giving you the guide on how to do yours, how to get a similar result like what I have here. So we'll go with a reference. So And let me give you this warning. It's like you'll be seeing a lot of spelling mistakes. I don't really pay attention to that. I just type and just move on, and you will know why this is the name of this project. So I just move on. I don't really focus on that. So you can see something like this one here. I was typing Richard, but I ended up getting this one. I don't care, whatever. It doesn't change my results here. So yeah. So firstly, if you have seen the first version, it was this girl. So this one is the first version. So let me see whether I have. I'm very sure I have the image here. Alright, so this one is the first version. So this one is the first version. When this one was done and I posted it on Facebook, it was nice. People were very happy about the results, but I later on had people were giving some comment that it was time, but it wasn't realistic, and it was true. I knew it from the start, but like I said, I wasn't really trying to show that I can do it, but I was trying to motivate you guys to get into it. But I noticed most of you weren't all that motivated, so I just decided to move a little bit with the realism of the character. So this is the first version, and this is the model here. So you can see the results I had, and I really like the results I had. So you can see the name is Alita. That was my reference. Alita was my reference. Alita was my reference. So you can see I gave it that name, but like I said, I don't really pay attention to names. It just gives me idea. It just gives me the idea that this is what I was going for. But and when I see even a spelling mistake, I can still guess what I was typing. So I don't really pay that much attention. But all right. So what else? So this what I had, and this is the results I had. So when I decided to move on to the next version of creating realistic skin with eevee and Blender 2.8, I had some certain rules I decided to follow along with. So first rule was focus on reference. So because you can see this one was something like a stylized or customized. It wasn't based. I didn't use any reference. I just did it. I didn't use any reference. I just did it. So I wanted to use, like I wanted to use a reference of someone to do it. So I went on and this actor was the person who came in mind. So I decided to use this guy as a reference. And I ended up getting this one. So like I said, it wasn't like the Alita one. Alita was the reference, but I didn't want to get the exact thing. I wanted to get something different. So this guy was the reference. I wanted to get something close to it but different, but still end up looking realistic. So yeah. So this is the guy, and this is my reference. Alright, so I use different angles. This is another one. This one, and these are the same reference I use for painting the textures. These are the same reference I use for painting the textures. So make sure you choose the right reference for your works. So I have another one here, which is this one. Close up, at least I can see some small details on the face. Alright, and I think I have one more, which is this one. Interesting. So he was smiling. Interesting. And you can see the wrinkles here. Alright. So these are the reference I used. This. Alright, great. So I instead of just starting with a new base mesh like this and try to get this out of it, I just decided to continue from where I ended, which is this girl, and I had this. Alright, cool. So the way I did it was, the way I was able to get this transition was, I didn't really move to edit mode. Select this. I didn't really move to edit mode and start pulling some faces. No, I first added this shape keys. I really like using shape keys. I am a ZBrush user, and we have something in ZBrush called levels. So this one is very similar to it. So I thought of using this. So I added this shape key, then move to sculpt mode and make sure the value is 1. Move to sculpt mode, set the value to 1, and then set the value to 1, and then you start doing the magic. So you can do a lot of works here. Alright, so this is how I did it. So let's say, let me add a new from mix. I intentionally used new from mix because like all the keys with forms or with changes are disabled, so it won't take any effect. Let's see. No changes. Alright, so make sure it's set to 1, or if it's not 1, you will see no difference, but if it's set to 1, you start to get what you are looking for. Great. Okay, so like I said, I continued from this character, this result. This was the version 1. So I use this guy a lot. So I'm not going to do everything from start, but I'm going to show you how I did it. So I move something like this. Something like this. And I'm not even looking at the reference because there's not anything that's serious. Alright, this guy is looking very smooth. Alright, again, I'll share this. Different. So I'm not focusing on this reference here because I'm just trying to show you guys how I did it. Alright, so I can use smooth to get this back, and I have this one. I have this one turned on. Where is it? Oh, come on. I have this one turned on. That's why the faces are very smooth, but I really started with a character with very low details, very low poly. It's not very low poly, but it's good for creating the primary shapes. So this one I'm doing is creating the primary shapes. So you can see it's starting to look different. So I use this guy a lot to get very interesting results. Alright. So this the eye. Interesting. Right. So yeah, actually this is doing the primary forms. This is just the primary forms, nothing interesting about it. So you have to pay a very close attention to it to get everything right, or it won't look the way you want. So this the way I used to get the primary shapes. So the next is creating the secondary shapes, and we are still, so this one is under the modeling, even though I use the sculpt mode, but it's still under the modeling. I just choose not to use the edit mode. Alright, so this is still under the modeling. So the next step was to sculpting, which is the secondary details. The secondary details is something like the shape here. This guy's here. Let me change this one. What else? This one here. Like their details that give an extra definition to the model. So it's similar to the primary details, but this one is far more detailed than what you do with the primary ones. So for that one, that is when we will activate multi-rex. So before we do that, let me undo this because it's looking very scary. Whatever. Okay, good. So we are back with how it was. So again, let's go back in. Here's the shape back. All right. So yeah. So this is the the base shape I came up with. It's looking very weird because I have to turn this one on. So this is the base shape I came up with. Alright, what else? So like I said, we are moving on to the secondary details. Alright, so let's bring this one down. We can turn this one off because it was only used for better preview or better understanding of the shape of the model of the head. So for the secondary details, that's when we are really going to use the sculpt. Although for the primary we use the sculpt, but it was for the primary shapes and it wasn't that much detail. But for the secondary one, it needs a lot of divisions to get the forms. So we are going to use multi-res, which is you add modifier multi-res resolution. So when I activate it, you see. So even I've already done the primary shapes here, but I don't know whether you have noticed it, but when I turn it off, you see, but they focus on this part of the face. When I turn it on, you see it's changes to a different form. So even after using the multi-res, I still changed the primary shape. So after doing this one, creating a shape key and doing all the primary shape, you might end up changing the primary shapes whilst you are doing the secondary. So it's better to always leave your render value to 1 or your preview to 1, but normally your render value to 1, so that this one here will be the base shape of your character. Because leaving it to 1, you get the exact shape. You get the exact shape of the model than putting it to 0. You see. So it's better. And if you add this, you still won't get the effect you did when creating the secondary shapes, because this subdivision is just using the surface details, but using this one is using the details you made. Alright, so it's best to set this one to 1. Alright, good. So the next I'll be using, and you can use dynamic topology, but dynamic topology, is that right? Dynamic topology is right. Alright, so you can use that one, but I still prefer you doing with multi-res, because you have the chance of switching back, moving through details or moving through layers or levels. So I still prefer using this one. And you, when we reach the texturing part, this will become very useful for us, especially creating the shaders and making things look very well. So I really prefer using this multi-res shader to do this one. So we at level 1 or preview 1, we can move on to sculpt preview 1, and this is still the primary shape, but let's try, and you can still see the secondary ones, but you can't see it that much. So let's move ahead a little, and now you can see them popping. And the good thing is it's not lagging. The viewport is not lagging, so it's very interesting. It's very interesting, because I'm screen recording it, and I really thought this is my first time, so I really thought I was going to lag, but it's not lagging, so this is a good thing. So level 2, and you can see it's popping up, but let's jump to 3. Now you can really see it. You can see this, you can see it here, you can see the brow, you can see here, you can see these shapes. But the thing is, you are seeing this roughness on the surface, and it's not something I did, but it's as a result of the higher details I have done. And as I move higher, you will start seeing those details. So it's not something I did, it's just showing, because it's telling me that there are higher details ahead, and because the divisions is not enough to create those higher details, it end up giving something like this. So still focus on these big shapes and not the roughness of this surface. Okay, so this is a secondary shape. I did this two, and this two, and this one, and the lips, this guys here. So it's still, it's still in the process of getting the shapes right. So we move to 3, and you can still see the shapes. So you can see even the nose is starting to like, you can see the edges. The edges are starting to pop. Like, see things clearly now. See the secondary shapes clearly now. Alright, so this is actually what you can see some pimple here, you can see some muscles or wrinkles, I don't know. So yeah, this you can do this at the primary stage. So yeah, and what else? So the next one is we move on to level 4, and you start seeing. So now you see the details are actually being readable. So you can see it. You can see what is going on the lips. You can see down here. It's not showing here, but one of the references was showing. You can see the muzzle, which you can see these guys here. Let me change this reference. It's not really feeling true. Okay, so you can see this one and this one, which is and this one. All right. So I didn't want it to look exactly like this, like the reference, but when when I was doing the details, adding the smaller details, I really used or focused on what was on his skin. All right. So like I said, I didn't want to get the exact shapes, but during the details, doing the smaller details, which is the final details, when you are done with the secondary one, then this will be the finals. The final, I still use this as reference. I was using this to create these smaller details, and you can see still it's not all that see-through, so it's not all that visible or readable. So because it's not readable, because it wasn't done on this layer, it was done actually on this layer. Boom. All right, so that's why. So now you can see the details well, and interestingly, it's not lagging. So yeah, and that's an advantage of using this multi-race, because anytime you try to rotate it, it switches to the lowest, and I learned it was an option somewhere here. Yeah, this one, fast navigation. So if yours is not working, check this one. So it's not lagging, everything is smooth, and I know where everything is, so I don't need to worry about coming back to fix stuffs. So like I said, using the multi-race, you are able to jump back to fix something you failed to do, and which is very helpful. So let's check. Wow. So these lines, I use this guy here, the crease, maybe strength to something like, alright. So I use this. Alright, I use this, a very small sprint. To create this. So I use this to create this. Alright, so I'll just undo it. Undo. Alright, so this is the final details I did, and let me see whether I'll find the alphas I use. So this is one of the alphas I use about 5, but I forgot to click this one, the fake user. Is it fake user? Yeah, fake user. So they are gone, but these ones are there. So I use these 5 alphas, and these 2 are still here. So you can just go to Google Images and search for skin alphas, and you will get some to download. Yeah, you end up getting the same thing I use. So yeah. So using these alphas, I was able to get these results. So you can use, I use the draw, I use the inflate, I use the crease, I use the move, and yeah. And one thing I've noticed is Blender is very fast on Linux than on Windows, and it doesn't crash that often. Like, it's very hardly to see Blender crashing, but it's normal using on Windows. Blender crashing on Windows is very normal. So yeah, I was using Windows at first, but I just switched to Linux, which is Ubuntu 19, I'm sure. Ubuntu 19, I'm sure. So yeah, this the results, or the smaller, or the final details I did. These are the final details I did using the alphas I showed you. And yeah, I was very proud of the results I had, and like I said, it's not lagging, so it was a very good thing. So yeah, this will be this is the end of the first part. So to recap, The first step was reference, know the reference you want to use. The second part was modeling, know how you want to model the primary shape or the base shape of what you are going for. And the next was sculpting. After modeling the primary, then you move on to sculpting the secondary shapes like this one and that one. All right, so the next part and doing the secondary, after doing the secondary shapes, then you move on to the final details, which is the smaller details. Then so that will be the all of what I did based on sculpting. These are my finished results after I was done with the sculpting. So the next part will be focusing on the texturing, the lighting, the creating of shaders and rendering, and it's going to be alright. So this is the result. So remember the steps, remember the procedures. I think following this guide will help you get something similar. So I really hope you learn something, a thing, or who knows, maybe more than a thing from this tutorial. And I'm hoping you subscribe to my channel, and for future videos and the next part of this video. So thanks for watching, and remember to subscribe. I hope you like the video, and see you next time. Bye bye.